Hey folks, it's Echo here. It is the end of Season 13 and I am excited to show off all the insane and incredible builds that the community has put together. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, sit back, and enjoy some amazing inspiration. Some of the most impressive things you'll see about the builds from this season are the level of environmental storytelling and little minute details that bring things to life. Nightly Demon put together the island, and on a quick glance it is just a takeover of the Simmons Shanty POI. Except for that's just the front. As you go down below, just head down to the porta potty like you do, and below you'll find a strange mining operation, but something seems off about this. Now in terms of design, I absolutely love how Nightly Demon left all the ore in place and carved it out. This leaves so many just questions on why they would do this and why certain pieces of the ore are left in the shape that they are and that the stairs are actually carved through the ore itself. Moving away from there, there's a natural tunnel that takes you into this small room, which has plants growing that must have some type of medicinal or other purpose. And then we get to the true mystery of the island. The island within the island. There are no known records of the strange bunker that is nestled beneath the lake, or why a lone soldier sits on an island. He seems to be the only person in the room, but you can tell that there's books and shelves and all kinds of places for what seems like a working area where people would be studying something, maybe studying him. But with nothing left behind to say, we'll never know. Crystal Catherine and Shy Cat put together their Crystal Cat spaceport here, and man, that's a mouthful. I love this design. I really enjoy seeing horde bases that are based around a theme, so they kind of started off with this rocket ship in the center, and then they built this castle wall around it. The rocket ship itself acts as a horde base, and then around it you could have people fighting from the walls. It also serves as garden area all around the base. Around the foundation where you have the engine, you can see all the blade traps, and then you've got multiple paths for zombies to come up so that you can fight from 4 different areas. Now they didn't make this just a horde base though, they also made sections down inside, so if you go down into the rocket, into the bottom below, they've got this whole gorgeous crafting area that was put together. They've got signs up welcoming everybody in, and then this wall with a switch that says cold beer, and I'm very curious what that does. But overall, the aesthetic here feels very organic, as if they had survived the apocalypse and had started to thrive and really build this place up. I was humbled and honored by 2 variations of the switchback on the server this season. Vixen did a fantastic job of remodeling the switchback here. She did a paint job overhaul, but then she added some small little characteristics here and there to make it her own, which I absolutely love. If you notice, the turrets up top have their little pillar platforms they're sitting on. There's an additional SMG turret right over the top, and then she added the bars around the exterior so you don't fall and break your leg like I always do. And then once we get inside of the base, it is significantly more welcoming than what I put together. So Jutra, along with a host of other folks, put together Area 51 here, and again, this is a very thematic base. You've got a horde base in one section here. It's got 4 separate fighting positions that are switchable using vault doors. And around the base, they've got several secret underground tunnels leading to this underground hidden storage area, so if everything went completely south, they could hide down there. They've got farming areas, they've got these little watchtowers to make sure that anyone is coming in, and then here's their living space. And I love the entrance and the stairs build up going to this, but great little living area here, amazingly decorated. But one of my favorite things about this base is the last bit. This is the alien ship that they added in here. This is an absolute masterpiece in lighting and color choice for all the blocks in here, but I'm just gonna shut up and let you enjoy the last bit. The bay window created by Wister was originally meant as kind of a transitional home before moving out to the snow or the wasteland, but he kept adding more and more to this. So I love the lush gardens that kind of wrap the whole thing along with the vines and whatnot. You've got a horde position at the front with kind of a crafting home area up top. Underneath here you can see gun turrets, you can see all the dart traps facing down which protect the foundation of the base. And overall just a lot of nice little details, all these hedges wrapped around creating separate spaces. Interior has a very compact horde base that's a crawler base where they have to go through all these electric fences. Moving inside the base, we can see the bay windows, which the base was named after, all the electrical controls. On the right behind that garage door, there's more crafting stations. Upstairs, he's got a small little bedroom with a few closets, and then in here you can see the battery banks across the top. So as you're going through the bedroom to the other side, you'll see there's 3 solar arrays which power the entire base. The Robot Sentry by Ebon and resources by Ebon started off as kind of an Asian themed tower and morphed into this robot critter sitting on the edge of a lake. It's got a horde base out front with 4 separate fighting positions that are switchable using doors, and on the interior here you can see the switches and all the controls in the defensive areas. So there's a bridge that leads across to a landing area for gyrocopters, and then up the stairs you can walk into the crafting area. You've got 2 sides with various workbenches and forges and cement mixers, and then up the stairs leads to more of kind of the living quarters. Here we have kind of a lounge area with a piano and tables and kind of a kitchen. On each of these levels we also have these exterior back porches with kind of lounge areas. We've got garden and plants on one section. Then moving up to the next level, we've got the bed as well as kind of a study area and more porches on the outside with different themes from medical to jacuzzi/lounge area. This little robot is here to be sentry against the encroaching darkness. So Dark Sun really outdid themselves on this one. Cozy Sun Horizons is the perfect horror tale where you have something completely mundane that is sinister at the same time. While I show you around, I'll read the lore that they put together. Basically, this is an ex-military veteran who dabbled in the local occult, resulting in them discovering a crypt leading to a mysterious and otherworldly portal. The aforementioned person was a wealthy and influential individual with many connections and was able to fund the construction of the cabin above and transform the crypt into a dungeon with the addition of a wine cellar. As well as serving as a home away from home, they would advertise the location on television as a place for newlyweds to spend their honeymoon and then warn them never to go down to the basement. Sometimes after the arrival of their 2-week stay, they would be kidnapped in the night, imprisoned underground, and later used for ritualistic practices. So I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea what I was gonna find when I went down the stairs here. And I'm not going to cover everything because there is just so much. It goes and goes and goes. And the little details here in the stonework and the fallen ceiling bits are insane in here. But as you go through the various dungeons in here, there are so much little environmental storytelling with torches and blood on the walls, chains from the ceiling. You've got little rooms where it looks like people were doing research on things. You've got these tortured looking chamber rooms. Complete underground flooded areas. I can honestly say I'm not even sure I found all the rooms in here, because each time I moved a different direction I found something else. Speaking of which, the last thing I found was this long corridor leading to a door to another world. Johnny put together Toothpick Towers, and he used one of the things that I love, and that's working with the environment. There's that huge ramp as you're coming into the base that just makes it feel like you're moving into something grandiose. And then around the exterior, he's got wrapped little farming areas, several garages. On the back side of the base, he's got a horde base. So this is one of those full all-in-one setups. In terms of horde base design, he's got 2 lanes, and I see he's got those kind of triangular slots at the end that we picked up from John's Gaming that kind of yeets the zombies off the side, works really well. And the fact that this is all connected up to his crafting and living space allows him to just walk out and defend himself as needed. Then he's got all these great little additional rooms for living spaces, crafting area up here in the top of the base, and then a number of just intricate details like the walkways around the exterior and the overall block choice on the sides to add more texture to the base. The Calico Cat Cafe by Chessa was converted from the coffee shed remnant. Fashion, she has modeled this with all of her feline characteristics. She's also taken the water tower out front and converted this into an early game horde base that was used for a bit. Lit up with our lovely little cat ears there. And then on the inside of the base, we've got a kitchen that's been remodeled and put back together. And upstairs, we have a living space. About the living space is how Chessa used some of the mods that we have in terms of lighting. So the greenish from the plants and the orange from the furnace there, just to give a little bit more color and characteristic to the inside of the base there. Porch, we've got a small farm and some dew collectors. Lovely little shop overhaul. Malicious put together the all-in-one shop to be able to have everything that he wanted in one place. In addition to the standard hoard and crafting area, he also added onto here a farm so that he's got all the crops that he needs for food. And then he also added a shopping area at the front. This is one of the main things. He started off with a single vending machine and then expanded out to all of these. And if you've never been on a community server, this really adds a nice experience of people driving around to other people's bases to be able to buy stuff. Here's the interior of the crafting section. You can see all laid out and directly connected to a horde base. So if he gets screamers or whatnot, he can just walk over and deal with those. In terms of horde-based design, he's got a basic killing corridor with those new quarter pole blocks and a whole bunch of electric fences to slow the zombies down. From an exterior perspective, he's got the base wrapped in those waffle blocks, which act as kind of an invisible zombie barrier. This helps to minimize damage and force zombies to the entrance of the horde base. And here we are with Little Red Sonja's flowers and cake. And if you don't know Little Red Sonja, she builds a lot of the amazing deco mods that are out there in the 7 Days to Die community that we use on our server. This 1950s, 1960s inspired build was built as primarily a living and crafting area, and I'm gonna have a hard time capturing all the little details. Here was the shop that you see as you're kind of rolling in, and it's got the plants hanging from the ceiling. You've got all these train cars, which I love how that they were designed. Here's your flower power gardening. And if you come into these little diner trains are just gorgeous. The color palettes and whatnot really just take you back in time. Also gives a little bit of that old Fallout type of feel, and then you've got the flowers with these small little pools. And finally, we have our car for our cakes with hearts. I am constantly blown away by Sonja's builds because everywhere you look around here, there's one more little detail that just adds more and more life to the overall build. Welcome to the Survive and Drive by, well, me. So I had this idea. I just had some boxes on the side of the road, and I was actually going to build up the way from here on that kind of hilltop behind. And then I thought, what if we just turn this into a drive-through? So I kind of made the 2 lanes coming in. On the back side of the base here, I put a landing strip for gyrocopters. I've got a horde base off the side. This is mostly to deal with screamer hordes because it's problematic when you're trying to craft. And I always love to have some type of horde base attached so that I can just run over, deal with the screamers, and then go back to whatever crafting I was doing. On the bottom, I've got vending machines here lined up that people can run across. There's all kinds of interior area that I didn't finish decorating. And this leads all up to the floor where we've got the crafting area on one side and then the horde base on the other. Throughout the design, I wanted to keep a lot of open windows and room to be able to see. Here's the horde base that was on the other side there, and you can easily have 2 people fighting up top, 1 person fighting down. Lots of flexibility there. And here's the top floor where we've got the solar arrays that powers the whole thing, and then we've got a garden, and we've got a few dew collectors off the back. Sitting in the shadow of the Ebon Talon Citadel, we've got Rookie Eye's Talon's Edge. Rookie is the absolute king of cozy and functional. On the outside of the base, he's got plenty of area for farm plots and dew collectors, and he's outlined everything on the ground, giving it some additional detail and characteristic there. But like many of Rookie's builds, the magic is when you get inside. The interior of the base has all these cute, intimate spaces. First, it's got a crafting area here. I do like the galley layout where everything is very within reach, makes it easier when you're putting stuff together. Then you go back into kind of the more interior part of the house. The floors switch over to this warmer wood paneling. The kitchen is meticulously painted as always. He's got these small little cute rooms with rugs on the floor. And then finally, like this bar and billiards area. And man, every time I see one of Rookie's bases, it just makes me think that I probably am gonna have to call him up if the apocalypse happens. Here we have the Echo Chamber by Rosencrantz, and this is like the switchback on steroids, and I love what he's done with this. So you've got the basic switchback model on the front here, but then once we look inside, you'll see that he's completely revamped it and added a whole new back section onto it. Also, I'm just enjoying seeing the community redo some of the colors. So here's a ramp that comes up through the backside that allows you to bring vehicles directly into the base. And here's the interior decorating that he did, changing things up. He's got these rolling doors in between as kind of separators, which I love. These are a great way in horde bases to protect certain areas. I do love seeing people take my bases and put their own spin on it because you can see the bones of the switchback here, but a lot of changes here. This whole garden section in the back with the ramp coming in was a really brilliant idea because I know a lot of people have asked, hey, how do I expand out? There's one way you could do it. The Order of the Ebon Talon is a mysterious and elite faction residing in the harsh frozen wastelands of Navezgane. Their purpose is to protect the remnants of humanity from the relentless undead. The Order's origins are whispered in survivor camps where tales of their swift justice and unseen presence evoke both fear and hope. This beast of a base, dubbed the Ebon Talon Citadel, was developed by Dawn, and I'm going to do my best to showcase all the little details that are put into here, but there is just so much that every time I walked around a corner I found more work that was done. The entire undercarriage of the base is this massive garage and crafting areas. There's all kinds of pragmatic utility areas, and then each of the four corners there's these watchtowers set up. The bottom floor also has a number of buildings, including a barracks section that you can see here. And then there's a raven symbol that he built on the ground outside, and then right after that a garden, and finally a hot tub leveraging the hot springs below. Here you can see the gigantic feet of the raven splayed out. This is on the second level of this massive edifice, and here we've got the infirmary, and right next to it we have a place for the soldiers to kick back and blow off some steam, relax. There's a well-stocked kitchen that leads into the mess hall. And then to make sure that they're properly armed, they have a guns and ammo shop set up along with targets. And it just goes on and on and on. The massive wings of the Raven serve as landing pads. And as we pass by, you'll see all the intricate detail giving that feather-like appearance, especially as we back away. And if you're wondering how he supported this crazy wingspan, he's using some invisible block tricks that allows you to have structural support. I absolutely love the fact that he blends the aesthetic and the pragmatic usage of this everywhere. You can see the radio towers on each side. You've got the landing pads. You've got a million little barrack rooms that are stuffed in here. Here's just a couple to look at. And in the space between the barracks, you have other rooms like this brewery that he put in here, which you'll have to pause to look at the painstakingly labeled beer types. There's a garden inside here using some nice block tricks that we have. There's a full-on gym. There's a study in here for the more astute. And then once we get up into the chest and head of the Raven, we've got some of the control areas. So here in the chest, we've got a couple tables, some server rooms, and then the actual control of the whole thing is up here, right in the eye. And if you want to learn more about the backstory of this massive edifice, I will put the full description that Dawn wrote up in the description of the video. This is easily one of the craziest builds that I've ever seen. The fact that it combines both that aesthetic as well as usable area is just incredible. Kudos Dawn on one hell of a base. Hey folks, it's Echo here. Huge hats off to the community for one of the most creative and insane seasons that I've seen yet. I can't wait to see what they do in the next one. As always, a huge thanks to all my incredible supporters over here. I will see everyone on the next video. Echo's out.